It's late. The only light in the room is the cold blue glow from your phone. You're looking at a bill you can't quite cover, or a savings account that feels stubbornly empty after another month of hard work. There's a quiet hum of panic in your chest, a familiar tightening. We've all felt it. That silent scream into the void of a spreadsheet. The hollow feeling after an impulse purchase that promised relief but delivered only a receipt. We run faster, work harder, climb higher, yet the feeling of financial scarcity clings to us like a shadow. It's a race where the finish line seems to move with every step we take. Have you ever stopped in the middle of this frantic race to ask a truly terrifying question? What if the rules of this game are designed to be unwinnable? What if our relentless pursuit of more is not the path to freedom, but the very architecture of our prison? We are handed a script from birth. Work hard, earn more, buy bigger, and one day, you will arrive at a place called enough. Yet, we see friends with new cars and larger houses still complaining about being broke, and we feel the sting of our own inadequacy, the shame of being left behind. The humiliation is subtle, but sharp. It's the casual conversation about vacation plans you can't afford to join. It's the mental gymnastics of calculating your grocery bill while in line at the checkout. It's the quiet dread of seeing a friend's investment portfolio soar on Instagram while yours stagnates, feeding that nagging voice that whispers, "You're too late, you've already failed." These moments are not just about money. They are about status, belonging, and our deepest fears of being found unworthy in a world that uses price tags as a measure of a person. The obstacles are not merely external. The rising cost of living, the stagnant wages, the volatility of the markets. The most formidable walls are the ones we build inside our own minds. The pressure to project an image of success, the corrosive habit of social comparison, the chronic anxiety that fuels sleepless nights, and the limiting beliefs we inherited about our own capacity for wealth. We are told the problem is our income, when the real problem is our philosophy. The Stoic philosopher Seneca knew this 2,000 years ago. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. Let us, together, dismantle the great cultural lie that underpins this anxiety, the idea that more is always better. This is not a guide to finding the next hot stock. It is a journey inward to build an unbreakable discipline of the mind, the true engine of financial freedom. We will learn to separate what we control from what we cannot. The economy may be a raging sea, but we can become unshakable captains of our own small ship. Our first task is to stop trying to calm the storm and instead learn to master ourselves. Imagine watching the financial news. The market is plummeting, headlines scream of recession, and panic is in the air. A colleague is frantically selling their investments, crystallizing their losses in a moment of fear. Now, imagine a different response. You see the same news, feel the same initial jolt of alarm, but you do nothing. You recognize that the market, the economy, the opinions of pundits, these are storms outside your citadel. They are not within your control. What is in your control? Your savings rate, your spending, your predefined strategy. This is the foundational principle of Stoic practice, the dichotomy of control. Epictetus taught that our chief task in life is to separate things into two categories, those which are up to us and those which are not. On one side of a great ledger, write down everything you cannot control. Inflation, stock prices, global events, your boss's mood. On the other side, list what you can. Canceling a subscription you don't use, dedicating an hour to learning a new skill, automating a transfer to your savings account the moment you get paid. All your power, all your peace, resides on this second list. Focusing your energy solely on what you can control is the most profound act of financial liberation. It is the release of a burden you were never meant to carry. It is the end of anxiety over things that are and always have been outside your command. You stop being a leaf blown about by the winds of the market and start becoming the gardener of your own small, well-tended plot. Now that we know where to focus our energy, we must understand the force that so often pulls it in the wrong direction. Our own unchecked desires. Financial hardship is rarely a problem of information. We all know we should spend less than we earn. The real issue is one of impulse. Stoicism teaches a hard but essential truth. We are not enslaved by our circumstances, but by our desires. The urgent need for the new phone, the vacation that appears on our social media feed, the bigger apartment, these are not needs. They are desires, and often they are not even our own. They are skillfully implanted by a culture designed to make us feel perpetually incomplete. Think of the last time you felt a powerful urge to buy something you didn't strictly need. Trace that feeling back to its source. Was it an advertisement that promised a new identity? Was it a friend's post that sparked a pang of envy? That moment, that sharp intake of breath, that immediate impulse to browse for something you can't afford, that is the moment of your enslavement. The object itself is neutral. Our judgment, our belief that we need it to be happy, worthy, or successful, is the chain. For 1 week, practice a sacred pause. Before any non-essential purchase, stop and ask, is this a genuine need or a fleeting want? Am I buying this for its utility or for the story I can tell myself and others about it? Keep a small notebook, a desire log. When you feel that pull, don't judge it. Simply observe it. Write down the trigger. A stressful day at work, a feeling of loneliness, a slick marketing email. This self-awareness is the first cut of the scissors against the threads of impulsive consumption. It is the beginning of reclaiming your mind. With this awareness, we can finally confront the single greatest destroyer of wealth, lifestyle inflation. It is the engine of the hedonic treadmill, the psychological trap that ensures no matter how much we earn, we never feel rich. We get a raise, and our baseline expectations for life rise with it. The celebratory dinner becomes a weekly habit. The modest apartment feels cramped. The reliable car seems dull. We adapt to our new level of comfort with breathtaking speed, and the feeling of having enough recedes once more over the horizon. A coworker receives a significant promotion. Within 6 months, they have a new car payment, a more expensive mortgage, and a wardrobe to match their new title. Yet if you were to ask them, they would tell you they are just as stressed about money as before, perhaps even more so. The numbers on their paycheck grew, but so did the complexity and fragility of their financial life. They are running faster, but they are on the same treadmill. This is not progress. It is merely a more gilded cage. The Stoic antidote to this is not deprivation, but conscious appreciation. It is the practice of voluntary simplicity, of finding deep and abiding joy in what you already possess. Seneca advised that we should not seek to have everything we want, but rather to not want what we don't have. This is a radical rewiring of the modern mind. It is a quiet rebellion. Before your next raise arrives, make a pact with your future self. Pre-commit to investing at least half of that new income. Let your lifestyle inflate, if it must, at a snail's pace, while your freedom grows exponentially. Resisting desire requires willpower, and willpower is a finite resource. A Stoic does not rely on their ability to fight temptation every single day. That is a losing battle. Instead, they build a fortress. They design a system where the right choice is the easy, automatic choice. Discipline is not about white-knuckling your way through a budget. It is about creating an environment where your best financial self can thrive effortlessly. A well-ordered system creates a tranquil mind. Imagine the peace of mind that comes from this. You used to reach the end of the month, look at your bank account, and wonder where all the money went. Now, the day you are paid, an automated transfer whisks a portion of your income away to an investment account. You never even see it. It is not available for frivolous spending. Your wealth grows silently, consistently, in the background of your life, protected from your own worst impulses. This is paying yourself first, not as a tip, but as a non-negotiable law of your personal economy. Automate your bill payments to avoid the mental drain of due dates and the sting of late fees. Automate your savings. Automate your investments. Every process you can put on autopilot frees up your precious willpower and mental energy for more important things, for living a virtuous life, not for managing a chaotic financial one. Your system becomes a bulwark, a fortress of habit that stands guard even when you are tired, stressed, or tempted. Your fortress is now built, but even the strongest walls must be tested by storms. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. We lose more sleep over the fear of a market crash than we do during the crash itself. The Stoics understood this profoundly, which is why they practiced premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. It is the deliberate, calm rehearsal of worst-case scenarios. By picturing a job loss, a medical emergency, or a steep drop in our investments, we rob these events of their power to terrorize us. What is unexpected is crushing. What is rehearsed can be endured. This is not pessimism. It is a form of psychological vaccination. Spend 5 minutes this month in quiet contemplation. Imagine your investment portfolio has fallen by 30%. Feel the shock, the knot in your stomach. Don't run from the feeling. Sit with it. Then ask yourself, what precisely would I do? My long-term plan is still intact. My emergency fund is there. My core strategy is sound. Walk through your rational response. When a real market correction occurs, the feeling will be familiar. Panic will be replaced by the quiet execution of a plan you've already rehearsed. Create your if-then strategy. If the market drops 20%, then I will rebalance my portfolio as planned. If I lose my job, then I will activate my emergency fund and cut these specific expenses. This rehearsal transforms vague, overwhelming anxiety into a series of concrete, manageable steps. You build a deep-seated resilience that market fluctuations cannot shake. You are now prepared for hardship. But what is the point of all this preparation? What are you building this fortress to protect? Without a clear purpose, discipline is just a chore, and a budget is just a list of things you can't have. For the Stoics, the goal of life was never wealth. It was virtue, living a life of wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. Money in this framework is merely a tool. It is a preferred indifferent. It is preferable to have it than not, but it has no bearing on your capacity to be a good person. Financial freedom, then, is not the freedom to buy anything you want. It is the freedom to be the person you want to be. Someone saves and invests with ferocious discipline, but feels a persistent emptiness. Their goal of $1 million is an abstraction, a number without a soul. Then, they sit down and redefine it. Their goal becomes financial independence, to spend more time raising my children, to volunteer for a cause I believe in, to care for my aging parents without financial stress. Suddenly, the discipline is no longer about deprivation. It is infused with love and purpose. Every dollar saved becomes an act of devotion to their highest values. Take a moment now and write down your 3 most important personal values. Is it family, learning, community, creativity? Now, next to each value, write how financial security would allow you to express it more fully. This is your new why. This is the fuel that will power your discipline when motivation wanes. This is the North Star that will guide your financial decisions, transforming them from mere transactions into steps on the path toward a meaningful life. Self-control is a muscle. It strengthens with use and atrophies with neglect. The single most powerful workout for this muscle is the daily practice of philosophical journaling. Epictetus advised his students to end each day by reviewing their actions, asking, "Where did I go wrong? What did I do? What duty was left undone?" We can apply this exact practice to our financial conduct. It is a simple 3-minute ritual that can fundamentally change your relationship with money. Before you sleep, open a notebook and answer 3 questions. 1. What financial decision did I make today that was in alignment with my values? Perhaps you cooked at home instead of ordering expensive takeout. 2. Where was I tempted to act against my plan? Perhaps you felt a pang of envy over a friend's new watch and started browsing online. 3. What will I do better or differently tomorrow? This simple act of reflection and accountability makes you a conscious participant in your own life, rather than a passive reactor to circumstance and impulse. This practice brings the abstract principles we've discussed into the concrete reality of your daily life. It is the bridge between philosophy and your bank account. It is not about shame or judgment, but about gentle, consistent self-examination and improvement. Over time, you begin to notice patterns. You see your triggers. You celebrate your small victories. You are no longer just managing money. You are cultivating wisdom. And with wisdom comes the ultimate perspective. The Stoics practiced memento mori. Remember, you must die. This may sound morbid, but it is the most powerful tool for prioritization ever conceived. Your time is your only truly non-renewable asset. Every dollar you spend is not just a dollar. It is a small piece of your life force that you traded to earn it. Remembering that your time here is finite forces you to ask the most important financial question of all. Is this worth a piece of my life? You are agonizing over a financial decision, perhaps whether to spend money on a weekend trip to see family. The spreadsheet says it's an extravagance, but then you apply the lens of memento mori. In 20 years on your deathbed, will you cherish the memory of the extra money in your account, or the memory of the laughter and connection from that trip? The perspective shifts everything. It clarifies what is merely an expense versus what is a true investment in a life well lived. This cosmic perspective silences the trivial anxieties that consume so much of our mental energy. The minor market fluctuation, the desire for a status symbol, the comparison with a neighbor, All of it fades into insignificance against the vast backdrop of your mortality. You stop trading precious hours for things that do not matter, and you begin to allocate your finite resources, your time and your money, with profound intention and clarity. But life is lived on the ground, and on the ground, we inevitably make mistakes. You will make a bad investment. You will overspend. You will fall prey to hype or fear. These moments are guaranteed. A non-stoic mind reacts with guilt, shame, and regret. You beat yourself up, reinforcing a narrative of failure. A Stoic, however, practices amor fati, a love of one's fate. It is the practice of not just accepting what happens, but embracing it as a necessary and valuable part of your journey. The obstacle is the way. Imagine you invested in a stock that everyone was talking about, and it promptly lost half its value. The pain is real. But with amor fati, you reframe it. Instead of saying, "I lost so much money," you say, "I paid a tuition fee to learn a vital lesson." What was the lesson? That you followed the herd instead of your strategy, that you let greed override reason. You analyze the mistake without judgment, extract the wisdom, and become a better investor because of it. You become grateful for the scar. When you make a financial error, write it down. Describe what happened factually, without emotional language. Then write down the lesson it taught you. Finally, write down how this experience will make you stronger, wiser, and more resilient in the future. This practice transforms every setback into a stepping stone. There are no failures, only lessons. You learn to love your entire financial journey, not just the easy parts. And in doing so, you build an unshakable character. We have now assembled the entire internal operating system for true wealth. It begins with focusing only on what you can control. It requires diagnosing and understanding your desires without judgment. It means building automated systems to protect you from your own impulses and rehearsing for hardship to inoculate yourself against fear. It is about connecting your financial life to a deep sense of purpose and learning from your mistakes with gratitude. This brings us to the final and most important redefinition. True financial freedom is not a number in a bank account. It is a state of being. It is the point at which your inner world is so robust, so tranquil, that external circumstances lose their power to disturb you. The ultimate goal is not to be rich, but to be free. Free from the fear of poverty, and free from the desire for excess. It is the quiet confidence of knowing you have enough, that you are enough, regardless of your net worth. Consider two people. One is a multimillionaire, but they are consumed by anxiety. They check the market constantly. They are obsessed with their next acquisition, and they live in fear of losing what they have. The other has a modest but secure financial life. They are content, generous with their time and resources, and their days are filled with activities aligned with their deepest values. Which of these two people is truly wealthy? Which one is truly free? This is the freedom Stoicism offers. It is not found in an algorithm or a get-rich-quick scheme. It is forged in the daily practice of virtue, self-control, and wisdom. It is the enduring peace that comes when your sense of self-worth is no longer tied to your net worth. You have the framework. The journey does not end with a destination, but is found in the quality of the walk itself, a walk of intention, resilience, and tranquility. The great work begins now, with a single, conscious choice. It begins not when you have more money, but when you decide to want less. It solidifies when you choose to focus on your actions, not the outcomes. It becomes real when you trade the anxiety of the future for the practice of virtue in the present moment. So, let me leave you, not with a statement, but with a question to carry forward. A question to guide every financial decision you make from this day on. What if true wealth is not measured by what you have the power to buy, but by what no longer has the power to buy you?